Hello. Look at this wet morning. It is 7:31 on Wednesday, February 11th, and it's 1 degree outside. Oh, there's a 10,000 won. 10 bucks. But the rule in Korea is, if it's not yours, don't touch it. True story, if I picked up that 10,000 won and I was on camera and somebody came back and was like, I have 10,000 won missing, they could charge me with theft. It's not a finders keepers here. It's a, if it ain't yours, don't touch it. So that 10,000 won is probably gonna sit there all day. Until the wind blows it away, because ain't nobody gonna touch that. It could be a credit card. A totally unlocked credit card, anonymous gift card, and nobody would touch it. I had a friend a couple of years ago. He was in a Costco. Costco? I think it was a Costco. And there's a whole bunch of ATMs at the front. He I'm gonna pull this down over my mouth so I can speak. He was at a Costco. What was I saying? Oh, he went to get money out of the ATM, opened it up, and there was a bunch of money just sitting in the cash tray. Like, let's say 150 bucks. And it's kind of windy, so if you take the money out and put it on top, it's gonna blow away. So he took it to the closest employee and said, like, oh, there's a whole bunch of money in this ATM. And the employee was like, I don't know. And so he was like, okay, well, here's my information. If someone asks about it, tell them I've got the money. Then he left. The police contacted him and said, oh, we found the people who have the money. You took it out of the ATM, we're charging you with theft. And it actually went on his record. He had to, like, he had to go to the police station. And I think he has theft on his record for collecting money out of an ATM and then giving it back to, he gave like all 150,000. He had all the bills and everything, gave it back to the right person, still got charged with theft. Kind of scary. Another true story. Koreans don't judge me because this is within American law. When I was 20 something, I think I was 20 something, maybe I was still in my teens. I was outside an electronics store, found about $100 on the ground. Brought it inside and said, oh, somebody lost some money outside. And the guy said, how much money? And I said, no. Here's the deal. If somebody comes to you and asks how much money, or tells you how much money exactly, I'll give it to them. If they say, I lost $110 and I found $110, I'll give it to you. But otherwise, I'm not just handing it over to you. I don't know if you're gonna give it back to anybody, and He smiled at me. He definitely knew he was like, if nobody came to claim it, that he was going to keep it. But nobody claimed it. I gave them my phone number. I told them, asked them if anybody had said that they lost that specific amount of money. Nobody claimed it. So I got like I think it was 110, or maybe it was like $90. It was just shy of 100. Well, not just shy, just outside of 100. Whew, this is cold and humid. Yeah, the law works a bit differently over here. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer. But, for instance, in Korea, let's say somebody breaks into your house. They have a knife. They stab you in the arm. You have an umbrella. And with your umbrella, you manage to wrestle away their knife. But then, after the knife is gone, you beat him up with the umbrella. Even after he stops fighting back, you continue to beat him up. And eventually you stab him in the arm with your umbrella. In fact, you stab him twice with your umbrella. Right in both arms, right? You now have done more damage to him, even though he broke into your place, even though he's the aggressor, even though he came in with a weapon, even though his crime was clearly premeditated. You have now done more harm to him, even after he gave up, so you go to jail. So there's a lot of people over here who every once in a while will go out to a place with a bunch of foreigners where a lot of them are drunk, and they'll start a fight and they'll get punched in the face, and then they'll sue the foreigner and say, I got punched in the face, I didn't even hit him. Look, he gave me a bloody lip. That guy owes me 500 bucks. That guy owes me 1,000 bucks. Which is, a couple of years ago there was an incident, I believe it was in Dallas, maybe it was in California, with a Korean man at a local coffee place. And he's an older gentleman, and the coffee place didn't make his drink the way they liked it. And he threw it at them. And then he, like, it's real typical in Korea for people to like raise their hand like they're gonna fight, but not actually hit. And he raised his hand like he was gonna hit her. Police showed up, booked him for assault. No questions asked. I mean, there were a lot of questions asked, but he was really upset. His daughter showed up and was like, no, no, no. He just doesn't understand the law. It's like, too bad. You don't throw drinks at people, no matter what. In America, you don't raise your hand to people, because that is assault. Once again, not a lawyer. I could be like someone in the comments could be like, oh, it's not technically assault, it's actually threats of violence and aggravated assault, or something like that. But my students can never believe me. Like, we read the book Holes, for instance, and in the book Holes, he didn't actually steal the shoes. He was walking under a bridge, and someone on top of the overpass threw shoes off a bridge, and they wrapped around his neck, and the police saw him and were like, you stole the shoes, and he got put in jail. In Korea, it'd be real easy. Check the CCTV. Like this. That's everywhere, all over the country. There's always cameras looking at you. Check the CCTV. Did I steal the shoes, or were they thrown around my neck? So to them, the book Holes is unbelievable, because Stanley Yelnats would never have gone to prison. And when I tell them, hey, there ain't no CCTV in America, I mean, there is, but not a one wide circuit. Recently, I think in Super Bowl 60, that just played 2 days ago, there was a Ring camera commercial about finding your dog and using every single Ring cam in the neighborhood to search for your dog. And I saw that and went, oh no. All my students went, what? That's surveillance. They could use that for anything. They could track you wherever you go. Anyone could use that. My students are like, so what? CCTV. It's funny too, because you have no expectation of privacy in this country. You should always assume that you're being filmed. But what I'm doing here, filming my GoPro rides in the morning, it's a very legally gray area. If someone ever asked me to take it down, I'd have to. If someone ever came up to me and was like, I'm uncomfortable being on camera, I'd be like, okay. In fact, I had a student say, please don't put me in your video. And I was like, the video that I filmed yesterday? Where I said hi to you as I passed by? She said, yeah. So I went back and I cut her out. There's a video from earlier this year where I cut a student out of my video. It's only about 2 seconds long. It doesn't ruin the video or anything, but I just, blazed past her saying hi. But she said, please don't put me in the video. I gotta take her out. Because legally, I'm not allowed to film her if she doesn't want to be filmed. Even if we're in public. Even if we're underneath a CCTV camera in public. I'm not allowed to film her if she doesn't want to be filmed. Makes sense. Makes sense to me, at least. To be clear, I don't think she was in any way wrong for asking not to be on camera. I did tease her a bit, but just because, you know, student-teacher relationship, you gotta tease them. I was like, oh, you don't want to be on camera? Because all your stalker fans, all your stans, all your Saison fans are gonna know where you go to school. Then they're gonna show up demanding autographs. She thought it was funny, but you know, she knew I was joking. CCTV right there. See? Oh. Time for that good iced coffee. Oh man. Ooh, 18 minutes today. About 2-3 minutes longer than it took me to get to school yesterday. All right. Thanks for bearing with me on this bike ride.